Hey guys, welcome back. It's Mythos Gamer for our 9th turn of our second game. As usual, before we get started, we're going to do a quick overview. This time we're going to take a look at our investigators and their money, clue tokens, stamina, and sanity. We're going to start off with Harvey Walters. He has 6 sanity, 3 stamina, $8, and 6 clue tokens. Harvey also has 3 toughness worth of monster trophies, and he has no gate trophies. Next we have Carolyn Fern. She has 5 sanity, 2 stamina, 9 clue tokens, and no money. She also has 2 toughness worth of monster trophies and 1 gate trophy. Moving on to Jenny Barnes. She has 2 sanity, 2 stamina, $10, and 5 clue tokens. She also has 4 toughness worth of monster trophies and 2 gate trophies. And our final investigator, Ashcan Pete, has 4 sanity, 3 stamina, and 4 clue tokens, with 1 gate trophy. Alright, that's it for our investigator update. We're going to pass the first player marker from Ashcan to Harvey, and move on with our upkeep phase. Before we look at everyone's stats, we're going to get everything else out of the way. We're going to give Jenny her $1 from the trust fund. Carolyn is going to restore her sanity, bringing it back up to the full 6. And we have to roll for both our investigators that are blessed. First, we're going to roll for Carolyn. Carolyn keeps her blessing. Now we're going to roll for Jenny. Jenny also keeps her blessing. Now we're looking at everyone's stats. I think we're going to leave everyone the same this turn, except for Ashcan. Right now he's at the Black Cave with the zombie. Hibbs Roadhouse has 2 clue tokens. He's only got 4, and he really needs some. I think we're going to have him head that direction. It's 3 spaces away. So we're going to move his speed from 2 to 3. Now we're going into our movement phase. First we have Harvey at the general store. I think we're going to try to get some more common items this turn, so we're going to leave him where he is. Brings us on to Carolyn. Carolyn doesn't have any money now. She gave it all to Harvey. There's really nowhere for her to go. But I think we're going to send her closer to the woods where the gate is for relay. She only has a movement of 3. And we don't understand in the streets because there's a fire vampire in the sky. So we're going to move her from the general store to Rivertown. From Rivertown to the French Hill. And finally, from the French Hill to the Silver Twilight Lodge. Right now, Jenny's at the Unnameable. She has a movement of 3 and $11. I think we're going to move her over with Harvey Walters at the general store and see if we can get some more good items. So we'll move her to the Merchant District, over to Rivertown, and finally from Rivertown to the general store. And our last investigator for movement is Ashcan Pete. He's at the Black Cave with a zombie. We want to get him up to Hibbs Roadhouse. He can't leave the Black Cave without first dealing with the zombie. He can either sneak by it or fight it. Let's take a look at the zombie. It has a +1 to sneak rating. Ashcan has a sneak of 3, so you get to roll 4 die. However, if you want to stay and fight it, you have to do a horror check of -1, doing 1 sanity damage. Ashcan has a will of 2, so that would be 1 roll for his horror check. The zombie also has a -1 to combat. Ashcan has a fight of 5 and a Tommy gun, which would give him 11, -1. He'd roll 10 die for that. Well, Ashcan has a sanity of 4. Thinking maybe we should just go ahead and kill this zombie. Probably take the 1 sanity damage, but get this zombie off the board. So we're going to fight it. Okay, with Ashcan's will of 2 and a -1 from the zombie, he's going to roll 1 dice for his horror check. And he actually passed. So no sanity damage. Move on to combat. With his fight rating of 5, and +6 from his Tommy gun, then -1 from the zombie, he's going to roll 10 dice for his combat check. These are the first 5. And we got 5 successes. We only needed 1. So the zombie is extra dead. Now that he killed the zombie on his way out, he's going to move from the Black Cave to Rivertown. From Rivertown to Easttown. And finally from Easttown to Hibbs Roadhouse, where he'll collect those 2 clue tokens, bringing up to a total of 6 clue tokens. Okay, we had a pretty quick movement phase. We're going to move on to our Arkham Encounters phase. Alright, for Harvey Walters' encounter phase, we're going to use the general store ability again. Instead of having an encounter here, you may draw 3 common items and purchase one of them for its list price, discard the other 2. Hopefully we'll have a little more luck this turn. The first item we drew is the motorcycle. This would have been great for us at the beginning of the game when we were lacking in movement points, but now that we're pretty far into the game, this really doesn't help us as much. The second one we drew is the rifle, a physical weapon that gives +5 to combat checks. This is exactly what we were looking for. It's going to be pretty hard to beat this. And we drew dynamite. +8 to combat checks, but you discard after you use it. Dynamite's also really good, but I think because the rifle is more permanent, I'd rather have the permanent +5 versus the +8 once. So we'll take the rifle for $6. This is going to leave Harvey with $2. Next we have Carolyn Fern at the Silver Twilight Lodge. We're going to draw an encounter card and see what we get. Care to join the order? Carl Sanford and several of his henchmen ask. If you accept, pay $3 and take a Silver Twilight membership. If you decline, pass a will -1 check or lose 3 stamina as the henchmen assist you out the door. Whether you pass or not, move to the street. Unfortunately, Carolyn gave all her money to Harvey last turn, so she has to decline. We'll have to make a will -1 check. Carolyn only has a will of 2, so with a -1, she's going to get to roll 1 die. Luckily, she is blessed though, so we'll get a success on a 4, 5, or 6. She did not succeed. She will take 3 stamina damage. She only has 2, so this will put her at 0. Because her stamina was reduced to 0, we have to move her to St. Mary's Hospital, give her 1 stamina, and we have to discard half of her items and half of her clue tokens. She had 9 clue tokens. We'll have to discard 4 of them. This is going to hurt us pretty bad. Let's figure out what items we're going to lose. Carolyn has 5 items, so she has to discard 2 of them. First we have the Lamp of Arazed, a magic weapon that gives +5 to combat checks. Not bad, it's actually a pretty decent weapon. We may try to hang on to this. Next we have the Gate Box. During any phase, when you return to Arkham from the other world, you can return to any location with an open gate. It's a pretty good item, but I don't think it's going to help us very much at this point in the game. This will probably be one that we discard. The 45 automatic, a physical weapon that gives +4 to combat checks. This is one of my favorite common items because it's a one-handed weapon. If you can get 2 of them, that's +8 to combat checks. We're definitely going to hang on to this. The next common item is the axe, the physical weapon, +2 to combat, +3 if your other hand is empty. This isn't a great weapon, but it does have the one-handed option, given +2. That combined with our 45 automatic, that's a +6 for physical damage. We'll probably hang on to this one too, just because it does go good with the 45. And our 5th one is the Holy Water, +6 to combat checks. You can discard to use it, and it's a magical weapon. This is only marginally better than the Lamp of Arazed, but you have to discard it. I think that we're going to discard this and the Gate Box, and then we'll keep our 2 common items and our lamp. Alright, next we have Jenny at the general store. The only common item she has is the Derringer, and it's an okay item, but she has $11, so we're going to see if we can get something better. Our first common item is Research Materials. During any phase you can discard instead of spending 1 clue token. Not a bad item, it's like the food sort of. It has a purpose, but not one of the best items. Next we have the Lantern, +1 to luck checks. An okay item. Jenny already has the luck skill, and her luck's been sitting around 3 this whole game. She generally has a pretty high luck score no matter where her slider is. So we probably won't be getting this. And another Derringer. +2 to combat checks, can't be lost or stolen. It is a one-handed weapon, and since we already have another Derringer, we might as well go ahead and take this. It only costs $3. This will give us +4 when combined with the other Derringer. And that'll leave us with $8. So maybe next turn we'll try again with her and see if we can get something better to replace these two Derringers she's going to hold on to. And our last investigator to have an encounter is Ashcan Pete at Hibbs Roadhouse. You enter a friendly card game. Make a luck -1 check. If you pass, you win $5. If you fail, you lose $3. If you lose and can't pay, the boys rough you up and throw you outside. Lose 1 stamina and move to the street. Ashcan has a luck of 3, so with -1 we're going to roll 2 die. You got a success. This will take Ashcan from $0 to $5. Alright, that is the end of our Arkham Encounters phase. We have no one in the other worlds right now, so we're going to skip straight to the Mythos phase. For our Mythos card, we will have a gate appear at the Black Cave. The gate we drew is the Abyss, a hexagon gate with a -2 to close. The monster we drew is the Dimensional Shambler. He's a fast monster, so he moves twice during monster movement. He has a -3 to sneak. He's a square monster. He has -2 to horror checks, dealing 1 sanity damage, -2 to combat checks. He doesn't do stamina damage. Instead, if you fail a combat check against Dimensional Shambler, you are lost in time and space. It's a pretty nasty ability. And he has 1 monster toughness. Right now there is nothing at the Black Cave, so we will place our gate to the Abyss and the Dimensional Shambler. Because the new gate opened up, we had another Doom token to our Doom track. We're now at 9 Doom tokens. It's getting pretty close to waking up. A clue will appear at Hibbs Roadhouse. Ashcan Pete is already there, so he's going to go ahead and collect it. For monster movement, we have 4 monsters on the board. 2 of them are squares, 1's a diamond, and 1's a star. So no monster movement this turn. For our text, we have a headline, Feds Raid Arkham. All monsters in the streets are returned to the cup. Unfortunately, there are no monsters in the street. We have the fire vampire in the sky, the elder thing at the witch house, the dimensional shambler at the Black Cave, and the hound at Independence Square. Now we'll draw an ally for our Southside Strangler Strikes rumor. And we got the Oliver Grayson promo ally. Gives +1 to luck, +1 to speed. When you fail an evade check, monsters do not deal combat damage to you. Pretty good. Alright guys, that's the end of our 9th turn. I think at this point it's pretty safe to say we're going to try to fight the Ancient One. We've only got probably a few turns left until he wakes up. So we got to see what we can get done to prepare for it. I'll see you guys next time.